This is interesting. Like the neighborhood Spider-Man, you're going to have neighborhood Chinese mercenaries. It's a given that Chinese mercenaries or private military contractors or private security companies are going to be stationed in Pakistan. So I thought, let me explain to all of you what these fellows do. What is the footprint they have? You think this is a new idea? Sorry, this is an old idea of the Chinese. So I'll go through certain things. Very interesting. It has value for us because we need to understand how this is developed and what is there in it for us. Same thing. Same, this tweet which has come out, which says that three Chinese private military contractors or private security contractors are going to be deployed in China. Now, they're going to be deployed in Pakistan. For whom? Security of the Belt and Road, or the CPEC, and Gwadar and Chinese. That's the Uparwala Kahani. But as time rolls out, my guess is they will be used for sorting out Balochistan. You'll see this. How this will happen, we'll watch. But this is the crux. When I started, when I heard this and I started looking into it, here's this report which says, the Chinese security industry is a stealth industry. It has expanded manifold. Probably more than any other country, China has the biggest network of private security contractors or private military companies or mercenaries. Why? USA had all the bases all over the world. They go and deploy their military. And wherever they have their interest, their military is there. China doesn't do that. China uses private companies like Wagner. Initially, they used to use Wagner and things like that. And what's that? Eric Princess. Okay, Blackwater. And now they have their own. So let's see what they have. And then our eyes will open. This is it. We have said China is reluctant to employ these people because then, they have this great principle of non-interference in other countries. And so that no one can accuse them of being colonialism and, of colonial in nature or all that, hegemonistic, and, they're going for. No. So they've used private security companies and private military companies and mercenaries. Basically, these chaps are all mercenaries. They are all PLA veterans or the police chaps. Now, so far, 84% of Chinese investments, which is known, very well known, or their BRI, are in countries with medium and high risk, where terrorism, political instability, piracy is rampant. How do they protect their own resources? How do they protect their projects? How do they protect their citizens? And how do they protect their diplomats without deploying their army? So they've used these chaps. So after 2 years, when they finish the armed forces tenure, they all join these, most of them. And today, probably we don't even know. People don't even know how many people are employed and how many companies are there. And some Chinese companies which are in Africa, where they have been kidnapped once or twice and being targeted by local gangs and criminal gangs. Even for their protection, these chaps are going and being deployed. They say they work in the Chinese facilities, in ports and railways and all that, dams and all that, for China, and say that they don't interfere in the politics. But we all know once you put a force there and that country is indebted to China, well, the politics also will change. And where countries, they would have learnt it from Sri Lanka, where there is a political risk in that country, they are now doubling up deployment there so that those regimes can be protected. The same thing is happening now in Pakistan. So if Pakistan doesn't have the capability of deploying people to sort out attacks on BRI and China and all that, Chinese individuals and all that. So China is now deploying. It's a matter of time. These are the numbers. There are nearly 5,000 security firms registered in China. And they employ 4.3 million ex-PLA and People's Armed Police guys. And this is just a number, we don't know. And as per one record, it says 20 are licensed to operate overseas, but I think there are more. And that number is growing. The exact number of Chinese mercenaries is not known. Incidentally, as per Chinese law, all these fellows can't take weapons abroad, or they cannot use weapons domestically also. Both abroad and within China, they can't carry. Why? The Chinese are worried that this will become an army which tomorrow might stage a coup. Because as I'll tell you, at the end of the day, all these companies are owned by PLA or the Communist Party. Now, these fellows also use local military forces and local companies, and they train local people by giving them equipment. Their equipment is sold there. They're given compensation, training, technology, intelligence gathering mechanisms and equipment and all that, so that the locals are also incorporated. But all those fellows operate under the Chinese. They also do recruitment from somewhere else. Suppose you are doing an operation in Congo, right? They might get people from South Africa, mercenaries, to do the job. They might not do it themselves. They'll get it done by someone else. So many of these companies are not only using Chinese veterans, they're using locals, they're using criminals, they're using everything. You know how China is? There are no rules on this. The Chinese law is completely in gray zone, and the international law is also in gray zone. So there's a deniability of their actions because now it's a private firm. So China doesn't have law, for legal purposes. China says, look, he's a private chap, he's got a private bid and he's doing it with that government. That government should take care of it. But that government very well knows that they can't do anything with that private company because that's a Chinese company. So it's a complete gray zone operation going out in broad daylight. If you think gray zone operations are carried out in maritime environment, you're mistaken. Look at this. They also recruit veterans from Western armies, right? And they use the structures which the Westerners made for this. After all this came out from Britain, France, who are the leading, security, what shall I say, countries with this kind of a mercenary thing. Russia, USA, UK, France, and South Africa. South Africa is also in this market. Big time. Okay. For example, This China Overseas Security Services is based in UK, and it promotes itself as a Sino-British initiative, basically for Chinese customers. And they have very questionable operations in whichever country they operate, whether it is in Somalia or Sudan or DPR or DRC. And and they suit themselves to the country in which they are, depending on which country has what kind of laws, they are adapted to that. Where in Kenya, the whole system is more permissive. So they have these private military companies, employ locals, they work with local security forces. Not only their private security, absolute security forces. And those chaps are given money to hire them. And the local security forces are also trained. They'll train this side and they'll train the war lads also. That's happening in Myanmar. It's happening in Myanmar also. Right? In South Africa, where the laws are strict, they'll go through the local subsidiaries, their channel partners. So today, China, more than Wagner and Blackton and all that, they have emerged as one of the leading mercenary players. Okay. I mean, this is something which we don't understand, but that's the truth. Look at this Frontier Services Group. It was founded by Eric Prince. Who's Eric Prince? He's the chap who founded Blackwater for USA. When did he put it in place? Gulf War 1. Between Gulf War 1 and 2. It is China's largest public conglomerate today. And these are all questionable contracts. And these questionable contracts are undertaken either with Chinese state-owned companies or foreign security companies. I've just given you one example. I'll give you more. Now, these three companies, BB Security, Huaxin Zhonggan, and Shanghai Zhongwei, these three are authorized to carry weapons. Out of these three, the first two, DV and Huaxin Zhonggan, are going to be deployed in Pakistan, armed. And these chaps have been authorized because they started with the Somalian pirate thing, how to solve the piracy operations, because the PLA Navy couldn't handle it. And they have been given license. What are the services they give? Sea and land escort, direct protection of Chinese enterprises, high-ranking officials. All these chaps are protected. Even embassies, fight against piracy. And these are the conduits to deal with Houthis or Hezbollah or whatever. So Chinese arms also go through these people. There were reports that Hezbollah has got something from China. So this is a channel which is well established today in Africa. They are also pretty well established in the Gulf. Now it's coming next to us. On one side in Myanmar, they are established. What happens if they get established in Bangladesh and all these people? Okay, and these three companies are highly sought after. Wherever the risk is high, like in anti-piracy or Gulf of Aden, these places, plus wherever warlordism is there, these chaps are used. Money speaks. And this Huazhen Zhonggan is the first company which got this license. And that's coming to Pakistan. Very interesting. I read a French article, right? In this French article, this is what it says. It analyzes the China hand. It says when the state moves forward, the private sector retreats. Very interesting statement. Initially, it might have been private sector, but now the state has moved forward. All Chinese businesses, we should understand, obey party directives. If they don't, they're sacked. All security companies must be the exclusive property of the state or have 51% of the state capital which belongs to the state. So all these are Chinese companies of the Chinese government. Heads would invariably be the communist guys or ex-PLA people. Okay. And China uses these chaps to advance its strategic interests. And it started with the anti-piracy, things in Somalia way back in 2005-06. They have been involved in conflicts and human rights violations. They lack regulation, oversight, or accountability. Like I told you, the international laws are dealer. There are a lot of loopholes which and Chinese are very good at it to exploit it. And their own laws are not applicable there. And they let the companies operate in this gray zone. It's a legal gray zone. Now, as coups become more, you'll see more PMCs, all these mercenaries being deployed. And who knows, these mercenaries, being the dogs of war they are, will probably be involved in coups. If China wants to have a coup tomorrow, it will be done. So tomorrow, if you see that, look, Imran Khan is knocked off or something like that, you might don't discount the Chinese hand. I'll just go through a few of these companies. This is Huayun Yuan Security. They give professional services. Have a look. I'll expand it. Have a look. Look at the services they give. Global security network, local partnerships, professional training. Sab kuch hai. China Overseas Security Group. This is coming to Pakistan. Okay, this is their website. Okay. So they operate in these countries: Djibouti, Ethiopia, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, Mozambique, Somalia, Zambia. And this is from their website. I have picked it up in italics. I'll read it out. At present, we have established branches in Pakistan. They are already there. Turkey, Malaysia, Cambodia, Mozambique, South Africa, and Thailand, and various businesses have been fully launched. In addition, we have conducted field visits to Argentina, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Iraq, Argentina, Sri Lanka, Laos, Indonesia, and other countries and regions to prepare for establishment of branches. So it's an expanding program. We plan to set up branches in 50 countries and regions around the world by 2025 and establish regional headquarters and gradually expand our business. See this. See the length and breadth of this whole story. So when China says global security initiative, these steps are part of the global security initiative. So a security architecture which is coming up, which is formal with the Army, Navy, and Air Force, and the PLARF and all that. And there's an unofficial security which is coming up. Understand the lethality. So if you think that we have done a great thing by pushing China back and doing some patrolling and all that, it's a good thing we have done, there's no doubt. But we have to think differently because the game is changing. If we don't understand this change of game, we are fools. That is why I put this out. Understand what will happen to Pakistan when all that China, help comes to them and their military gets upgraded and all these chaps come in. and they'll bribe these generals. वो तो पैसा खा जाएंगे. And then what happens? What do we deal? How do we deal with it? This is the another DB. This is their thing, and this is the things which they do. Service profile, all activities. You're gonna have a look at it. You know, yeah, have a look at this. What all they do, all their service products. This is Frontier Services Group acquiring overseas security company. FSG enhances security capabilities significantly. ये सब चाइना माल है. How many countries they operate in? Have a look. Understand this. Right? So they are completely. Now you can look at, they already shared this. Some of these chaps are in Laos, Cambodia. They're in Pakistan already. They could come into Sri Lanka tomorrow if you're not careful, or Maldives. What happens if these chaps come into Maldives? We have to open our eyes and head. These are his activities, these chaps' activities. Have a look at it in peace. You know, all kinds of countries and all kinds of activities this chap is doing. And this is not the only one. Okay. See, one more company, what he does, all this is there. Okay. These guys, Zhongun Junghong service. Look at them, Kenya, South Africa, Tanzania, Madagascar, Comoro Island. सब पूरा list है. Another HXZA security service. They also into, I mean, I'm just giving you a few big ones. These are. So what are we looking at? You're looking at, you know, a thing which is expanding and coming to our neighborhood. And we need to be aware of this. They're coming bang into Pakistan. So what will be the dynamics in Pakistan which will change? How do we respond to this gray zone operation next to us? These are the questions which we have to ask. Originally, I thought I'll also talk to you about the PLA purges. But as I went into the details of the PLA purges, I found that I can't do it in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So tomorrow evening, join me. I'll talk of the PLA purges because one of their Central Military Commission chaps, Admiral Hua, has been sacked. Why is he being sacked? Oh, easy to say, so many chaps have been sacked, so he's also been sacked. Xi Jinping. But I went into a lot of details. Very interesting things have come out, so I'll share it with you tomorrow. Till then, if you like this video, I would request you to, press the like button, and if you're okay with it, subscribe to this channel because you're going to get value for money. And please be members in this channel. And I've had people already joining me as members. I'm thankful to all of you who joined me as members. A lot of people suddenly joined me. I'm very thankful to you, grateful.